Could Surface be Microsoft's Edsel? Could burkas be in Montana's future? How many nooses is too many? For April 24th, 2015, from the stylish high-tech underground studios of Ribbit Media in climatically backsliding Cranston, Rhode Island, this is NewsUndies. For April 24th, 2015, this is NewsUndies, all the news that shouldn't be news. I'm Paul Torville with these headlines. Google Research has developed a thing called the Knowledge Vault, which provides Google with a way to discern truthfulness ratings for a website and adjust the rankings of search results based on factual accuracy. When Fox News got a hold of this story, it lost its tiny little collective mind and put up a piece calling this censorship. Look, Fox News, putting confirmed facts ahead of dubious piffle is not censorship. And besides, how would this be any kind of threat to you, Fox News? Computer security expert Chris Roberts found a potential security flaw in the onboard Wi-Fi network aboard a United Airlines plane on which he was a passenger. He tweeted about the flaw and was detained by the FBI when he arrived at his destination. The agents interviewed him, confiscated his electronics, and let him go. United has now refused to allow Roberts to board a flight for which he had a valid ticket and had passed security successfully. Just so you know, United, I have a choice of airlines, and I just want to thank you for simplifying it. And speaking of computer network security, CNN Money posted excerpts from an interview with Microsoft's Panos Panay, of whom you may never have heard. Panay was, and continues to be, the mastermind behind Microsoft's hugely expensive Surface product line. Back in 2013, Microsoft took a $900 million loss on the project. Panay reflects on the experience, basically saying that his leadership would not pull the plug on the project, and the team remained optimistic. That, to me, suggests a company whose leadership has lost all contact with reality. He said, quote, "These businesses take big investments, a lot of time. And now we've seen a bit of a turn. That's important. Let's be clear. Having a product that people love is the most important thing." End quote. A bit of a turn? It's been 2.5 years since release. The company has already written down a $900 million loss. And now you're starting to see a bit of a turn? Teaser trailers for two long-awaited latest installments of two iconic, highly profitable, and long-lived movie franchises have come out: Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens, and Jurassic World. Interestingly, both properties have undergone some upheaval. Star Wars is now a Disney property, and this is their first effort with it. And with Jurassic Park, Steven Spielberg is executive producing. An EP credit can mean a lot of things, but it most often means this person was significant in getting the project started, but was not involved in the day-to-day decision-making or operations of making the film. I've seen both trailers, and I have to say, I think I have CGI fatigue. It's so much easier now to just do all your action sequences digitally that, meh, why even bother with things like physics? I will probably see both movies, but I have this looming fear that whatever chronic and ultimately fatal illness Michael Bay and Roland Emmerich have will make its way into two of my three favorite movie franchises. Hey gang, it's time for celebrity birthdays once again. Let's rock. For the 18th, Clarence Darrow, dead. For the 19th, Jane Mansfield, dead. For the 20th, George Takei, oh my. For the 21st, Queen Elizabeth II of England. For the 22nd, Betty Page, dead. For the 23rd, Cal Penn. And for the 24th, Eric Bogosian. That's celebrity birthdays. I'm Paul Torville, and I'm done! Eat dessert first. Still to come, politics get funky. Simulated nipples are a threat to America. And what is the FDA hiding? Hi, I'm Paul Torville. You may know me from such popular web shows as Bible Answers. When I started the show back up for 2015, I got a comment from a subscriber. He said he enjoyed the show and would watch it together with his father. I was touched. But then he said something that caught me off guard. He said, "I can't understand why your show isn't more popular." If you have some time, anything you can do to grow awareness and interest in NewsUndies would be appreciated. Thank you. Full House. As the 2016 presidential race continues to take shape, we are seeing and hearing things that no rational individual would ever expect to from sensible people in expensive suits. Of course, we're not dealing with sensible people, we're dealing with politicians. I offer as examples the following. Donald Trump has suggested that he will run for president, and he says that he can beat Hillary Clinton in a Republican primary, maybe. He claims that he can make America so rich that cuts to benefits to the poor would be unnecessary. Considering that Trump's companies have gone bankrupt 4 times, he's on his 3rd marriage, and has changed political affiliations 5 times in the last 16 years, I can't imagine that he really has the ability to succeed at anything that doesn't involve his own self-promotion. Right after Hillary Clinton announced her candidacy, she stopped at a Chipotle restaurant in Ohio. Immediately, the wonderful folks at the Fox News program Outnumbered made repeated, weak, ham-fisted attempts to ridicule Clinton, her pantsuit, and her BlackBerry. Then, Rupert Murdoch's stablemate The Wall Street Journal published a list of fast food restaurants and the political leanings of their customers. Ready to be shocked? Chipotle, Au Bon Pain, Starbucks, and Jack in the Box are all favored by liberals, while Chick-fil-A, Applebee's, Bob Evans, and Sonic's patrons lean conservative. So, enlightening? Good to know! And then Fox News decided to share the story in case 2/3 of its demographic doesn't read the Wall Street Journal, because they're too busy replacing their catheters, signing up for reverse mortgages, and filing personal injury lawsuits. And just in case you're a candidate for the 2016 presidential election, you should probably be on the lookout for the army of 100,000 conservative Christian pastors mobilized by David Lane's so-called American Renewal Project, who have been instructed to tell their followers to look into presidential candidates and their minions to see if can you guess? Yeah, find out if they're either gay or support LGBT rights. I fail to see how this will hurt anyone but conservatives, and really, it might give the outed conservative a chance to be themselves in public, and maybe even encounter compassion and acceptance among liberals. Oh, and U.S. Senator from New Jersey Cory Booker has called on fellow lawmakers to lighten up about marijuana laws, especially those who have admitted to smoking it in the past. Good luck with that. I'm sure that will do wonders for any future presidential aspirations he may have. Montana is a big state with not a lot of people. I would have thought that without all the population density of a buzzing metropolis like, say, Effingham, Illinois, or New Stanton, Pennsylvania, things like indecent exposure would be a low priority. I would have thought wrong. State Representative David Moore introduced a bill, State Bill 365, penned in part by retired Professor Walt Hill. The goal of the bill, in the words of Hill, was, quote, "I want Montana to be known as a decent state where people can live within the security of laws and protect their children and associates from degrading and indecent practices. I believe this bill is written preserving that reputation." End quote. I had no idea that Montana was quite this draconian, but it turns out that the existing law in Montana says that 3 convictions for indecent exposure could mean life in prison, and $10,000 fine. The bill is written to drastically expand the existing indecent exposure law to include any sort of exposure of nipples, including men's, or any clothing that gives the appearance or simulates buttocks, genitals, pelvic area, or female nipple. The canonical example of garb that would be outlawed under the bill? Yoga pants. In fact, Moore said, quote, "Yoga pants should be illegal in public anyway," end quote. SB 365 would lessen the maximum sentence to a mere 5 years in prison and a fine of $5,000. Awesome! Fortunately, the bill died in the Judiciary Committee after the legislature was flooded with calls, letters, and emails declaring the bill ridiculous. You know, as much as people in flyover countries squeal in horror at the thought of Sharia law being imposed in the United States, I mean, those are the same kind of people trying to enact laws like this. Can't they see that this is the exact same thing as Sharia modesty laws? I mean, how fucking stupid can you be? Michelle Manhart, a former U.S. Air Force officer, scuffled with police and protesters to stop them from trampling or desecrating the U.S. flag at a protest at Valdosta State University in Georgia. Interestingly, Manhart left the Air Force over a nude photo layout she appeared in Playboy. Can you guess what was featured in the pictures draped over her nudeness and touching the ground? Why, it was the American flag. She later posed nude in ads for PETA, holding little flags in front of her breasts. Momentarily setting aside the screaming hypocrisy, how important is the flag code? And how important is the flag itself, particularly when measured against the importance of free speech? Here are Pig and Sheep with their thoughts.
The flag code is everything. The flag is almost as important as Jesus, like one hair less important. If you trample the flag, you might as well trample Jesus. Everybody needs to stop burning flags and flying them upside down and writing on them and wearing them. Except the little pins that patriotic politicians wear. Those are okay. And trucker hats and t-shirts, body paint. Oh, and Sylvester Stallone in Rocky IV. But that's it.
The flag of the United States is a symbol, and as George Carlin once said, it should be left to the symbol-minded. Injuring or mistreating a flag only hurts you if you let it. The U.S. flag code is arbitrary, so involved, and so restrictive that there are violations all around us. Fortunately, the Supreme Court has deemed the U.S. flag code essentially unenforceable under the First Amendment of the Constitution. At that point, it becomes a matter of taste. The reality is that the flag is just fabric, as the Bible or the Quran is just a book. They are symbols of ideas. Mere disrespect of an idea, any idea, a person, any person, or a symbol, any symbol, is not justification for violence.
That's what Pig and Sheep think. What are your thoughts? Email them to ovcomments@newsundies.com. And now for the week ending April 24th, here's Paul Torville with your exclusive Pastcast weather. Here's your exclusive Pastcast weather. The Great Lakes region had sunny conditions turning hot. Then thunderstorms, because, you need that. The Ohio Valley had thunderstorms, and it was sunny and hot, because, again, you need that. The Deep South had thunderstorms, and it was warm, which... perfect. Just perfect. That's your exclusive Pastcast weather. I'm Paul Torville. Ceci n'est pas une pipe? Still ahead, why no, officer? The person next to me caught a foul ball. And, is it lynching season already in Michigan?
Have you been injured in an accident, or can you pretend to have been? If so, we may be entitled to 40% of any settlement you receive. We're the law offices of Angry, Bitter, Vindictive, and Rosenblatt, and we've spent over half a century profiting from the pain and suffering of people who, in some cases, didn't even know they were suffering or in pain. At Angry, Bitter, Vindictive, and Rosenblatt, our attorneys have the skills and experience necessary to turn almost any activity into billable hours. And that means you can pay us more. Angry, Bitter, Vindictive, and Rosenblatt, specializing in personal injury, family law, product liability claims, and almost any other area where emotion weighs more than evidence. Angry, Bitter, Vindictive, and Rosenblatt, getting richer off your mild discomfort since 1955.
And now here's Moose Weintraub with a Sports Half Minute.
Moose Weintraub Sports Half Minute. It's a whole half minute of sports. 30 seconds of sports. Moose Weintraub Sports Half Minute.
This is your Sports Half Minute. I'm Moose Weintraub. The Cubs may not have a World Series win in their future, but a new tradition of catching a foul ball in your beer and then chugging it may be just what the Cubs needed to keep the fans interested.
Moose Weintraub Sports Half Minute.
Thanks, Moose. Always a great report from Moose. Robert Tomanovich, a Michigan tree trimmer, has set up a display in his front yard consisting of a Confederate flag and a noose hanging from a tree. A second house Tomanovich owns on the same street also has a noose hanging from a tree in its front yard. Neighbors are upset. Tomanovich is unapologetic. On the one hand, free speech. But on the other hand, what exactly are you trying to say? When approached by a local TV reporter, Tomanovich fled into his house. Really, Bob? What are you trying to say? And finally, and I do mean finally, we all saw this coming, didn't we? The FDA is now revisiting a decision it made back in 1988, wherein it decided that homeopathic remedies do not need to be subject to the same approval process as standard medical treatments. In case you were unaware, the 1988 decision was monumentally dumb. Either there is evidence that homeopathic remedies work, or there isn't. Either there's a mechanism of action, or there isn't. If the efficacy of a medical treatment is contingent on your believing that it will work, then it is not a medical treatment. It is a psychological treatment. It is a placebo. If you make your living selling or dispensing, even giving away, homeopathic anything, you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm not going to take up your valuable time here to explain what homeopathy is or how German crackpot Samuel Hahnemann pulled the principles of homeopathy directly out of his ass in 1796. I leave that as an exercise for the viewer. Wikipedia article linked below. In the NPR article, linked in the description, Mark Land of Boiron USA, a company which manufactures and sells homeopathic remedies, is quoted as saying, quote, "Homeopathic medicine offers a very long history of safety. One of the hallmarks of homeopathic medicines is safety." End quote. That's because there's nothing in it! And shame on you, NPR, for dancing so delicately around this issue. Well, that's all for this edition of NewsUndies. If you see news that shouldn't be news, you can submit your story tips online at newsundies.com or on Twitter with the hashtag NUSTip. NewsUndies is a weekly show, and we'll be back on Friday, May 1st with fresh undies. If you like this video, please like this video. If you like the show, please spread the word. Got a question, comment, or suggestion? Leave it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, circle us on Google+, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, ignore us on MySpace, tell your friends, and buy NewsUndies Kitsch at newsundies.com. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at NewsUndies, until next time, I'm Paul Torville. After that, I might be wearing 4 pairs of yoga pants and no shirt in Billings, Montana. Computer expert, a 900 billion. Interestingly, and this is the first effort from them with Hillary Clinton announced her candidacy right after Hillary Clinton. Chipotle restaurant in Hawaii? No, not even close. Without all the population density buzzing, not be a priority. I would have thought that would be a low priority. Okay. I wrote it. I should be able to read it. Is that a thing in my hair? Or is that my hair? That's my hair. My hair is white.
I should check to see if that's...
It is. Fuck.
I just want to tell you good luck. We're all counting on you.